Hey, it's Bill coming at you from Santa Monica, California. Um, every time I turn on my YouTube thing, I get this ridiculous thing about Joe Biden, or I've got a new name for him. I call him Joe Biden because I think that's exactly what's going on. He's got all sorts of negative ad campaign, and Trump's just buying his way in. When you got a couple of $1 billion, it ain't that hard to buy somebody. I've learned that out here on the streets. It's You'd be surprised what you can get done for a few $100s, and I don't think he's that far out of the. Let's just say temptation is not out of his reach. And let's face it, Trump is president. He's got a lot of reach. So he might be jiggling the twiggleberries. Told you I use a lot of references to the world, and that is what movies are. Movies tell you the truth if you sit back and watch them enough, and they really do. They tell you everything. Just gotta. There's a reason they're called producers, and then there's a reason that they're great at what they do. It's because they can see the future, make it seem like it's a fantasy, but still inform you. That's what they're great at. And you know, let's just imagine for one moment, if we will. And I know this is difficult for a good many of the American public, but just imagine. Let's call it a fantasy because that's what we've been programmed to do. So let's call it a fantasy. It's all made up, all of it, 100%. But let's just, for S and G's, let's just call it possible. Just going on my general beliefs of honesty and dishonesty and how I rate them and such. My general rule, and this isn't just recently made up, I established this a good many years ago, like when I was 16. And I can tell you the story as to why. But if I had to choose between our government, yeah, the United States of America, the government, or the mafia, I'm going to choose the mafia. Because with the mafia, at least they tell you what's going to happen. With our government, even if you read the book, there's a reason it's so scrambled. And I am promising you right now that I'm one of the first people. I'll go down in history as saying our revolution is coming. And the reason I believe this is because the power, i.e. the money, has gotten so complacent with having the money that they don't realize we don't care about the money so much as we care about our rights. And you can bet all of the people with all of the money are mostly for gun rights. And I hate to be the one to wake you up, but our country wouldn't be our country without the right to bear arms. And if you've forgotten that, you need a good wake-up call, and it's coming your way. And I'm sorry if you don't like bloodshed and defense and all of that. I'm all for it. I told you. I got a scar from not defending myself. But I don't ever mistake my kindness for weakness. And I know that's hard to understand. But I had 52 days to understand it. And I'll never, ever, ever forget that lesson. And I know it's a hard one, and hopefully you never learn it the way I did. But everybody wonders why I can forgive the people that gave me that lesson. It's because I lived it. I am here. I survived. And I know, no matter who they are, they can never take that from me. So when I have to, I told you, I'm not afraid of dying. You have to be. If you're going to face me, you had better be willing to die. Because I am. I have it every day. So, I told you, not having any fear is... it's not a godsend, I guess. I don't know. But that's what it feels like. Because if everyone had the feeling I have, we'd all get along a whole lot better. Everybody's so worried about dying. You know what? You're gonna fucking die. And why don't you try and make it a little bit better for everybody else while you're here? You know, that way, maybe somebody looks back and says, oh my God, remember that person did this and this and this? Or would you rather be the one that said, oh, I can remember when that guy jacked me out of 50 grand for a piece of land because I didn't sign this. Or, oh, he jacked me for $150 on my car because he didn't tell me that it needed brakes. I asked, but he said, you know, that's called karma, people. Karma. And it's going to come and haunt you every time. I know there's no religion that focuses on that. But it's funny, I was sitting here, literally, close to a year and a half ago, and sitting over where I used to sleep. A guy came riding his bike up this little hill over here. It is little, but if you're fat, obese, out of shape like me, it'd give you a heart attack. He got to the top and he was wheezing like I would be. And he's like, "You mind if I sit down?" I said, "First of all, I don't own the sidewalk, but I said, by all means." So he's sitting there, he's talking, and turns out, I've told you this story. Turns out he's the stepfather of a friend of mine. Well, not a friend, an acquaintance. We went to high school together, and he was in my class. And like I said, I learned something from everybody. And he asked me about religion, and I told him I don't believe in religion. He said, I told him I was more spiritual than religious. I said, I believe that my mind and my spirit will be with my wife and my mom and all other people I care about. He says, then you believe in yourself. And I never thought of it that way. But he's right. That's exactly what I believe in. I know if I do it right, everything around me is going to be right. So I don't have to hide behind some shroud going to church on every Sunday and forgive my sins. I never thought that made sense to me either. And even, well, my mother's gone, but I can remember the conversation. And it didn't make sense to me then, and she literally told me, if it doesn't make sense, you don't have to go to church anymore. And so we used to go on Easter and Christmas. That's the only time I went after I talked to her about it. And I never had a connection of how else to look at it. Sorry, my hand gets lazy. I know I do it. I don't know. I have all these weird things that happen that I know that I try and pay attention to. But anyway, I'm trying not to get lost here. I always do. But yeah, anyway, that again, I sit there and I think about things like that quite often, and I don't believe any truer words were ever said to me. I don't know that they applied to everybody, but to me they applied quite well. And he's right. I only have to answer to myself. And if I do that, I satisfy whoever I believe in. And that is me. And as long as I satisfy me, who else do I have to satisfy? I mean, my wife died. I could see how I would have worked. I did work. I worked my whole life for her. And, yeah, to some degree I feel robbed. I'll never put myself in that situation again, but there's a lot to be learned from it. And just because I'm not willing to take that risk again doesn't mean it isn't worth it to somebody else. It nearly killed me, and I'm not afraid of anything. I'm afraid of that. I don't want to feel that again. So I guess I am afraid of something. That'd be it. But other than that, I'm not afraid of dying. Christ. If I ever accepted that, I'd have to be willing to die. No, I'm not afraid of it, but it'd have to be somebody pretty special. I guess that's all I can say. And I don't see that happening. I'm a realist, and I don't see anyone that special coming into my life. But I know I look sad. I'm not. I came to that conclusion early when Jamie was sick. It's a one-time thing for me. And anything I ever do would be cheating on her. And I cheated on a girlfriend one time, well, fiance. And I never ever got over it. And I mean, it wasn't even the kind of cheating that you would think it was. Like, cheating's cheating, but, you know, I'm sure there's degrees. Mine was on the lighter side. If there is such a thing, there isn't to me. But anyway, that's how it would feel. So you got to be a pretty impressive woman to get past that, because that means that I trust you 100% to not ever let me down, which means you can't die. And if you can guarantee that, that's all I can hope for, and I don't see it happening. So, I've been a little depressed today. Not depressed like you would think. I went to the park this morning, first thing. I can't get it off of my mind, and that's why I can't get happy. But it's a situation that worsens. You know, for me, it would be if I were dying of oxygen and somebody was trying to put a mask on my face and help me. It would be, to me, the equivalent of pushing that help away. And let me give you an example of that. And if you feel I'm 100% wrong, I if I'm anything in your mind above 90% wrong, you call me out. Call me out. Call me out any way you can think of. But I go to the park this morning. Now, mind you, I have to bike from where I'm at, and I'm going to count it off because I know exactly how far it is. 6. Okay. For me to go to the bathroom in the morning is if I do just one alley, which is seldom, but one alley, which I believe I did that particular morning, but I wouldn't swear to it. But I'm gonna give the situation the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna say I only did one alley. With that in mind, it's 24 blocks, and that's Santa Monica blocks, which I would call that suburb blocks. I don't know what the difference is, but I would say 4 of them. Yeah, that's got to be a mile. It's just shy of a mile if it is not a mile, but it's I would assume that they make them somewhat, you know, metered, I guess is the right word. So every block, I'm sure, has a general distance that's covered, so that for a lot of different reasons. So anyway, that's how many I have to do. I get up there, which is half of the total I just gave you. Men's room is packed, always is. I'm only looking for the first handicap bathroom because I am handicapped. I have my bike, which is a good spot to store it. Usually I have my backpack and all my other stuff, which is the only way to store it. I am handicapped, and I'm not passing that off for any excuse. But the men's room is full. Only one bathroom. So I used woman's bathroom, which happens all the time, but again, no, that's not an explanation. So I use the bathroom and get out. Usually I go straight around to the men's side so I can wash my hands. This particular time, I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. I'm out washing my hands, and a young African-American woman comes out. I can just tell by her face she's disgusted, but I say, "Good morning," and she doesn't answer. So I'm washing my hands and blah, blah, blah. She starts in, "It'd be nice if you could understand how to use the woman's room and not the men's room, not the woman's room." I said, "It'd be really good if you'd understand that I'm handicapped and I have to go to the bathroom when I have to go, but you don't care." She gets into it with me, wants to yell and scream at me. This is like a 22-year-old girl. I said, "Hold on." I said, are you telling me that you don't care that I'm handicapped, that I literally could go to the bathroom in my pants, but because it's the woman's a word that has men's in it versus a men's room which has women's in it?" I said, "Yours are empty, ours is full." I said, "As a common courtesy, I'm using this as a handicapped bathroom because I am handicapped." And I went on to explain to her after my injury how hard it is for me to control my bowel movements. And I said, "If you want me to, I'll stand right here and crap my pants." I used the S word. But I said, "If that's necessary for you to observe, for you to be able to forgive me to use the bathroom, I understand. No problem." She continues to come at me, literally wanting to fight me. I said, "Are you for real?" I said, seriously, young lady. I said, I will beat the shit out of you, and I'd be happy to do it, except for the fact that I'm a human being, and I'm a male that could possibly kill you. And I said, there's no reason for you to even confront me about that situation since I gave you more than an explanation. And I said, you got to get your head out of your fucking ass. I get on my bike and she starts yelling out to all her buddies to chase my ass down. I stopped and I fucking stood up to all those fucking assholes and I said, you go right the fuck ahead. I said, you beat my ass and take me to fucking the hospital and kill me. I don't care. I said, it's about fucking time you guys fucking understand this is not your goddamn playground. This is a goddamn place where we survive and live together. I said, you are using race against you, and all of you all are against a goddamn right in this country, and that is the right you're fighting for, and it's the one you can't defend because of your ignorance. Now, I usually like to have my happy stuff, but that is not a happy thought, and it is our country. And I happened to be out, and literally, when I was in Maine, we used to say you're in God's country. Out here, I am in God's country. I know in the Alps, I'd say the same thing. But here, you can literally... I'm looking at a property. It's northeastern California. Old Victorian farmhouse. Just under 100 acres. I think it's 98. I don't know. But it's an old Victorian. It's got a big, huge barn. I'm actually very excited about it. And it's the first time since Jamie died. I'm excited. It's got a big, huge... It's almost 4,000... It's not huge, but it's 4,000 square foot main home. And then about 1,000 square foot secondary home. More for the ranchers and such. But I'm gonna flip it around. I'm gonna live in the cottage. Actually, I'm gonna build my own somewhere in the back corner, and I'm gonna make the front of it a facility for rehabilitating people like Jack, where they can. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure it out, but I'm gonna make it work. There's no reason. I've already applied for all of my grants, not grants, I'm sorry, wrong word. All of my applications for a California state grower's license and Stella California state seller's license. And I'm going to base the whole concept on back in the day after the Revolutionary War, I believe it was. But you could fact check me on that. I'd love to know if I'm wrong. But I believe it was right after the Revolutionary War that African Americans and American Indians, and back then it was just immigrants. But the ones that were there for a land grab, and yes, back in the day, that's how land was gifted, as a land grab. And after the land grab were done and the Revolutionary War was completed, and I don't know the order, I wasn't very good in all of that, but I know it's roughly about the same time. One had something to do with the other. How's that? And remember, I'm brain damaged. And anyway, because coming out of the war, nobody had any money. And that's why it's hard to find anvils, anything from that time frame. It's very difficult because we melted it all down for iron cannonballs. And at least that's the history I've been told, and it sounds reasonable. But anyway, that's when sharecropping was very popular, and I'm going to bring that concept, and I don't care, the laws don't ever get changed. I can have a sharecropper. I can also have reduced labor for harvest season, and I can harvest anything. So it's all considered a cash crop. So I'm gonna buy a cute little Victorian, and I'm gonna house all sorts of people that have lost their way. And ever since I started, the homeless community, given any problem, can survive. And I can't think of a better place to build a farm of those people, helping get those people into a life that they're happy with. And everybody always wants it to be, drug-free and alcohol-free and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? The world made the problems for them. They have artificial drugs that are meant for them and blah, blah, blah. I'm not looking for any of those solutions. California, marijuana is legal, hash is legal, I think. It's from the same product. And I don't condone alcohol because I got hooked on it, and alcohol is literally one of the few drugs that you can get addicted to. But when I say that, it's life-threatening. I mean, I've been through the worst of it. And I don't know how to describe it, but if you're looking for the worst possible situation to ever be in, I've been through a lot of them, and that's about the worst. Because all the others don't matter. You're going to die. This one, it's a guess. You're going to be okay if you die. You're literally going to be at that point where you're going to say, please, I don't believe in God, but if ever I was going to ask, that'd be the time. And I did it easy. I went through it in phases. It took 3 years. Started off with 52 days in a hospital, no drinking there. And then I've been on Vivitrol, and they put you on, you got to go through a detox, which varies depending on what you're going through and what you got to fight. And it is a fight, just so you know. But for me, it was just alcohol, and I had apparently the right attitude for them. They said I'd be out in 4 to 6 days. I was out in 5. And then, yeah, look at that too, huh? I am sex A. Some special, not a wonder. Yeah, I am so fine that even a Lamborghini wouldn't do me any good. Now, it depends. You never know. Women in America have gotten a little bit, not cheat, that's not a right word. Like, my wife wasn't a lease. That's what marriage has become. And I know that sounds horrible, but You get all the benefits, ride it for as long as you like it, and you trade it in, because it's going to cost more than it's worth. And that's programming. That's what I call it. We've been programmed to get the best for less. You don't think that that's programming your mind? Because I guarantee it is. You know, back in the day, parents, grandparents, they all grew together because we didn't have enough money to say, oh, look at this. I'm 55 years old and I can get a 22-year-old if I have the money. I've been around it all. I've seen more money than you could possibly even imagine. And I'm telling you, firsthand, there's no answer in it for you. If you're going to follow that dream, the one part that you're missing is everything costs something. Remember that. And if you can remember that when you're making financial decisions, they're going to be a whole lot more what's the right word? Clear. Not better, not worse, just clear. Because I'm not here to tell you what's right and wrong. I'm just telling you what you got to live with. And consequences don't go away. They don't ever. That's why I talk so freely about my suicides. I mean, 3 of them, I'm still here. If you can't learn something from that, well then, I'm not wasting my time, because I don't care if it's just one person. But I can tell you this. After the 3rd time, I told you 3 is my limit. That's it, no matter what. And so I have to think about it, you know. It was why. And you know, what I came up with is not important so much as the fact that I thought about it. And I guess that's all I'm trying to point out to you is I can't remember. I read so many different stories. It was probably, I want to say Al Capone, but don't hold me to that. But it was somebody similarly, if I said that right, famous. Infamous, I guess, would be the proper word. But anyway, when they captured him, and that's why I think Al Capone, because he was captured and imprisoned for tax evasion, which nobody believes, but it's true. But anyway, I think it was him, when they asked him, when they finally arrested him and asked him, you know, what he was thinking, he said it didn't seem wrong to him. And ever since I quit drinking, I think more about the laws, especially like with the truck. The laws are not up to date. If they're going to hold them against us, they had better be up to date. I mean, horse theft in Texas is probably a good idea. Horse theft in Maine? No. I'm sure at one time it was a good idea, but is it punishable by death today? I hope not, but it is. I mean, that's what can be expected. So, you know, if they're gonna, part of the Constitution is representation. You know, taxation without representation. Well, we get taxed every effing time I blow my nose, literally. So, that's, if that's the case, that's our government abusing the Constitution. It's our job to make them responsible, just as it is theirs to make us responsible. Do you understand that? That's what it's called. It's checks and balances. Took me a minute to remember it, but that's what that's called. Anyway, I'm getting off on a rant, and I've got to go and figure out dinner. So, I know I see that. That must be something new. Well, not new, but I never noticed it before. That must be one of the spots they whacked my nose. Oh well. Anyway, you have a great evening. Be happy. Be smiling. Like I said, if I can figure ways to be happy, everyone can be happy. So, have a great evening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.